Hey folks, Brian here again, doing another installment of my review of the Runequest role-playing and Glorantha manuscript I got at Gen Con. I ended up ruining my last pair of glasses. I fell out on the ground, stepped on them, or got run over or something. I can't get them fixed. But these seem to be working all right. Okay, Shaman, Spirit World. Grabbed the wrong list. The Shamans in the Spirit World. Shamans are magical specialists. They interact directly with the spirit world and manipulate spirits. The Dakafal and the Waha the Butcher cults are the two cults where their only rune masters are shamans. They don't have any rune priests or rune lords, just shamans. Now Yelm has rune lords, but also has shamans. It's one of those things where it gets really kind of, I don't know, iffy, I guess. In the old RuneQuest 2, it was very obvious. You were running Rune Priest, Rune Lord, or you were running Shaman. Even in RuneQuest 3, where they had the different cultures. You got your primitive, you got your nomadic, the barbarian, and the civilized. And for the primitive and the nomad, their religious and leadership stuff was all shaman based. So they had shamans. Your barbarian culture had shamans or hedge witches, and they had the priests, which ran their religious services, right? And then in the civilized culture, you had priests, running the church, and then you had sorcerers doing, their funky magic thing. Just a few of them, that kind of deal. So this whole mixing thing, I honestly have no idea how it'll work out well. Especially with this Yelm thing, that'd be kind of cool. I think though, being a rune lord and then picking up shaman stuff. I think that's a pretty powerful guy. They have a little paragraph about tools, drums and rattles and bones and songs and gestures and drugs and that, all of these different things, they represent something, with the spirit world and that kind of thing. So, it was interesting. And then they go into being an assistant shaman. There are three levels of shamanism: the student, the assistant, and the shaman. The student, um, if the student is known, the shaman, i.e., if they're in their same tribe kind of thing, they get, automatic experience. You can role play an interview if you don't belong to the tribe, that kind of thing. And you can simulate that with a successful lore skill roll. Yeah, that's right, whatever. The assistant. Being an assistant is more of a calling than a occupation. This is where you get initiated to the mysteries, and there's an interview. You have to have 25% in animal lore, and in plant lore, and in first aid. And then you need the shaman's fetches approval, which I really like. And that's simulated with a power times 3 roll on the assistant who's trying to be, or the character who's trying to be an assistant. Assistant's duties, restrictions, and benefits. A student lives with, works for, and aids his mentor, the shaman, 90% of his time. Notice it's not 9/10, it's 90%. This consistency thing is going to drive me nuts. And you also get to develop a passion of loyalty to your shaman of 60%. Good to go. But the good things. Free training. You get training for free, obviously, in spirit combat, spirit dance, spirit lore, and spirit travel. Now, spirit combat's fairly self-explanatory if you've ever played Runequest. It's done, but this other stuff, they'll go through each of these here in just a second. More benefits. One free spell point of spirit magic each season. That's 8 points every year. Plus, every year they get 1 point of power increase. These can be tough dudes. Okay, spirit combat. This is when you engage with discorporate beings. Now, it used to be that it was, on the resistance table, power versus power, and you attack each other's magic points until somebody's at 0, and you either get possessed or you take control of the spirit. Not that anymore, because everybody's got spirit combat skill. Everybody, so you got to be able to roll the skill, and everybody's got spirit combat damage, a certain amount of damage that they inflict. I don't know if we've talked about that yet specifically. I don't think so. Okay, Spirit Dance. This is a skill you can use to avoid hostile spirits. Good to go. Spirit Lores, that helps you know something about spirits, even a particular spirit. What will appease that spirit? What will drive it away? What are its affinities and its abilities? That's pretty significant. And then there's Spirit Travel. This is how you navigate the spirit world, because you don't want to get lost. Also, it's a skill so you can track down specific spirits. Interesting. Okay, they have the little box text here where it talks about the Axis Monday. That's the spike. I call it the spike because it's the shoot, what does it say? Oh, nail. It's the nail that holds reality together, or it used to, because something happened to it. That's where we got the hole in the ocean. But it's also a source, not even really source, but it's a augment to the power and magic of shamans. And pieces of stuff are extremely valuable. As I mentioned, the spike doesn't exist anymore. The largest piece of the spike known is the block, which I believe is along the valley, the river of the Cradles, and it's like huge. And there are little pieces around it, but they've got guards out there to keep people away. Okay, becoming a full shaman takes a year of training, and then you attempt to awaken your fetch. Notice the emphasis on those words: awaken your fetch. And the first thing is, are you worthy? That's determined by an average of power and charisma times 5. Now, if you fail that, you can make another roll in a year. Also says that you can role play this out. I don't know. I've been watching a number of videos on YouTube and Geek Sundry, Critical Role and that kind of thing. And I've watched a couple dice camera action. I'm kind of waiting until I catch up to where I've got on my saved list of stuff, and then I'll just start from the beginning and work way through. But Acquisition Incorporated, I've watched. I really like that. The C Team, not so much. I'm not sure what they're trying to do with that one, but it just turned me off. But anyway, actually, right now, in fact, it was just last night I started watching Experience Points because they're really short ones. And from the different things I've been watching, I can see where if a character can role play a situation out, that you in 5th edition give them advantage. And in Cthulhu 7th edition, you've got advantage too. So you can use that mechanic. I can see, doing that if a guy can, or person, sorry, can, role play that out. But again, if you've got players who just are not that kind of a player, that just, puts them at a disadvantage in the game. And while yes, in general, we all want to role play and we want to immerse and that kind of thing to happen, not everybody is as good as others. And we certainly don't role play physical characteristics, do we? I mean, I've been fighting the SCA, or I fought in the SCA. I haven't fought since back to the US. But I fought in the SCA in in Okinawa for well over 5 years. I got pretty good. I wasn't, fantastic by any means, but I was pretty good. Do I role play that out too? My character may only have 25% in sword skill, but I know that I can hit him. I just don't like this whole, if you can do this, then your character can do it. Nah. I've got one player that I've played with who plays a character with a low charisma, but the player himself is very vocal and animate. It's like, oh no, stop, shut him up. Because eventually the GM's gonna have to make a roll. Oh, great. Okay, okay. Summoning your fetch. Notice that they didn't say awakening your fetch. There's a whole paragraph on summoning your fetch, but we always call it awakening your fetch. Consistency kills me. Okay, first thing is the sacrifice power. Now, the minimum is 1, and this becomes the base of your fetch's power. But you can sacrifice more than 1 point. There's nothing holding you back there. Okay, it says again, you can role play the questions based on the character's passions and rules. They don't really give you any details on this. The concept is you can pick certain passions and runes and try and give him a situation that would put him in a conundrum based upon his passions and runes on how would you react to the situation, kind of thing. That's what it's trying to do, I think. But from there you go to your ordeal. So when you summon, there's a summon spirit roll to awake on the awakened fetch table. So you have to have the summon spirit spell. Okay, there's a spell. Summon spirit. You have to have that one in order to summon your fetch, I guess. I mean, that's why you use summoning, because you're using that skill or spell or whatever it is. But anyway, they got a little table on this. If it's a critical success, the power of your fetch is your sacrifice points, however it was, 1 or more, plus 2d6. Okay. And then his charisma is 3d6 plus 6. If it's a special success, it's your sacrifice points plus 1d6. And his charisma is 3d6 plus 2. Normal success is just the amount of points you sacrificed. So that's what you got to be planning on. So it's almost like you want to sacrifice half of your magic points because you want your fetch to have some decent power so he can survive. And then his charisma would be 3d6. On a failure, you still get your fetch. And it's still a sacrifice points for his power, but his charisma is only 2d6. And on a fumble, you still get your fetch, and it's still the power you sacrificed. But his charisma is only 1d6. Not very powerful. Okay, at the end of your ordeal, the Game Master rolls a d6 because you have 1d6 rounds of spirit combat with the bad man who has a power of 35. Now the player and the character don't know how long you need to fight the shaman, the bad man, but you've got to. You can choose to quit every single round. At the end of a round of combat, you say, "I quit," and if you quit before the d6 roll number comes up, you fail. So combat will last no more than 6 rounds, but you've got to, it's one of those weird things. Now, the spirit combat against the bad man is against the shaman plus his fetch. Well, the shaman, not even a shaman yet. Well, I guess technically he is since he got his fetch, but he's not really a shaman yet. But it's a shaman plus the fetch. So if you got a special or critical roll on your summoning your fetch, that's some extra power. Otherwise, it's just yours. You plus what you sacrifice your fetch. Okay. Yeah, I told you about the Ask Seeker. We continue until the D6 is break off next 6. Yep. Talked about all of that. Okay. Each round you determine a winner and a loser. There's no magic points lost. So again, 6 rounds, win or lose. If the bad man wins, each time the bad man wins, the shaman, once he finishes his ordeal, will have to take 1 taboo. Now this says it can be the player or GM choice. I may ask a player what kind of taboos, bad things. Not even really bad things. Like there's one taboo where you can't allow your feet to touch the ground. Or your bare feet to touch the ground kind of thing or something, What kind of tab? I don't even know if I do that. I honestly don't. I think as a GM, will look at the player, his runes and passions, what he's done in his life previously, how he plays, and make a taboo be appropriate. I don't know, because this is the bad man, so he's gonna make it. These are troubles. He wants to make it harder for you. Well, every time of these, up to 6 rounds that you win or lose, every time the shaman wins, he gains a shamanistic ability, and some of those are pretty cool, but without a taboo. And it says here that the shamanistic abilities may be chosen at a later time. I would make him choose all of them at the end of the ordeal. Maybe not, each round of the ordeal. I think they're getting at you have to do it right at the end of that round. So now that the ordeal is over, you get to choose your shamanistic abilities and taboos. And your fetch, which is a portion of the shaman's soul, because you activate your power to it, right? He is awakened. He can be visualized as an animal and may take a physical form. He provides power and magic points for the shaman. His charisma stores magic points and spells. And his power can store captured spirits. So remember, you can hold. I'm talking about holy spirits. It was spirit magic spell points. It was your charisma. Interesting. Okay, so the fetch can hold spirits for the shaman. Now those could be. We haven't talked about this yet. You got spell spirits. You got power spirits. You've got healing spirits. You've got disease spirits. There's all kinds of different spirits you can have held that you can then control and have do things for you, right? Well, your fetch with his power can hold. Actually, it says store. You can store those captured spirits with your fetch. Okay, the fetch shares the shaman's intelligence and can act and react just like the shaman. Not specifically like the shaman, but similarly. And every time the shaman, well, it doesn't even be a power increase roll, but the shaman can constantly sacrifice power to his fetch, to increase the fetch's power, because there's no way for the fetch to increase his own power. And the fetch can go discorp. Separates the shaman's fetch. The shaman can discorporate and go to the spirit world, right? And the fetch then guards his body. Okay, the fetch can engage in combat independently of the shaman, but at the shaman's dex strike rank. It can cast spell. Cast a spell, then can't be. Oh, if the fetch casts a spell, then anybody else can target the fetch. It's like invisibility in D&D. Once you do something, everybody can see you. Okay, in combat, also the fetch may materialize. He has that ability, in which case he can engage in physical melee combat. Okay, the fetch can capture spirits. This talks about the shaman goes into spirit combat, reduces a spirit to 0 magic points. The spirit is automatically captured and acts as if he's bound. This means he can perform tasks. The spirit can cast spells. The shaman can cast the spells. The spirit spell. No, he can't. The shaman can require the spirit to cast its spells or use its magic points. I think this use magic points is where the shaman gets to use the spirit's magic points. And then, as long as the fetch maintains contact, i.e. control, he can. His power of spirits. So if your fetch has 10 points of power and you come across 11-point power spirit, he can't control it. He can't maintain it. He can't store it. That's kind of different. That's the way it's designed. Okay, so almost 20 minutes here, a little bit on the long side, but that's shamans in the spirit world, the beginning, becoming a shaman. Happy gaming. Ciao.